Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome if you're new. Thank you for taking time out of your day to check the video out. We have more PlayStation news, rumors, and leaks to go over and cover here today. So we're just going to dive right into the topics, starting with the PS5 reaching a major sales milestone of 60 million units sold. This is being reported by Push Square. They say Sony has shared in its first fiscal year 2024 financials report that 2.4 million PS5 consoles were sold during Q1, meaning the current gen system has now sold 61.7 million units overall. This is a decrease of 900,000 purchases when stacked against the same period last year, though Sony did make gains in other sectors like an increase in operating income and improved game software and network services sales. The millions of yen Sony has generated is at its highest in an entire year across network services, which it states is due to PS Plus. Sales of PS5, PS4 titles dropped by almost 2 million compared to Q1 in fiscal year 2023, down to 53.6 million. Of those, 6 million purchases were for a first-party game published by Sony. While some comparisons are down, the ratio of physical to digital purchases on PlayStation is at its highest for a year. 80% of all games sold across PS5 and PS4 were for a digital copy. Following its Q1 figures report, the company has revised its gaming division's forecast slightly, increasing its sales and operating income by 3%. Whether these results are seen as good for Sony and PlayStation or not depends on who you talk to. Bloomberg reporter Takahashi Makazuki thinks it's a concern that the pace of the PS5 hardware sales has declined faster than what the market expected. Meanwhile, Christopher Dring of GamesIndustry.biz thinks sales of third-party games could drive PS5 console purchases as it makes up for the comparatively weaker first-party lineup for 2024. Speaking to VGC, industry analyst Dr. Serkin Toto said the numbers are actually quite solid for what has been a quiet period for PlayStation Studios output. The big weak spot, however, is hardware sales. The year-on-year drop is not surprising, but quite significant. Sony can only hope that Astrobot or one of the other new games coming this year will make people go out and buy PS5s again. So yeah, it's a bit mixed here, right? On one hand, it's actually a really big deal to see the PS5 hit such a significant sales milestone of 60 million units sold, which is very good, of course, but there's also the fact that console sales are beginning to slow down and certainly show signs of slowing down. Now, to me, this actually makes a lot of sense because I've been kind of wondering when this was going to happen. It's not to say that Sony hasn't done a very good job at making sure there are games coming to the platform. Of course, we have plenty of third-party games, but even when it comes to exclusives, Sony's been making sure there's plenty to play, right? If we're talking about exclusives, of course, it's not as strong on the first-party PlayStation Studio side of things, but there's plenty of second and third-party exclusives to kind of fill in those gaps, a lot of variety. But I think generally speaking, most people understand that, you know, Sony hasn't really been showing the long-term roadmap here, right? They haven't really been so forthcoming in here's a, few big AAA new PS5 PlayStation Studio titles that you're going to want to go out and buy a console for. Of course, we know about Wolverine, we know about Death Stranding 2, but we really haven't seen much of these games. It's been very far and few in between. And of course, you add on top of that the fact that there are many PlayStation Studios that we haven't heard from in many years at this point. I mean, we're not just talking about 1 or 2 years. We're talking about 3, 4, or 5 years in some cases where we're just not hearing from them. So, the thing I'm going to be paying attention to going forward is knowing that PS5 sales are starting to slow down. How is Sony going to respond? Are they going to put on a big show? Are they going to just continue with state of plays? What about the PS5 Pro? I mean, there's a lot that Sony could do, but whether or not they're actually going to do it, we'll have to wait and find out. But there you go. Either way, it is nice to see the PS5 hitting 60 million. It does seem to me that when it's all said and done, even though the sales are slowing down right now, as long as Sony does what they're supposed to do, what they've done every generation, which is end the second half very strong, I think this console will have, no problem hitting 100 million units. But we're going to move on to the next topic, which talks about Black Myth Wukong, which is coming out very soon. This is being reported by PlayStation Lifestyle. A Chinese journalist and insider claims to be privy to Black Myth Wukong's PS5 graphics modes after apparently going hands-on with the game recently. Developer Game Science has yet to confirm the information, but did announce this morning that Black Myth Wukong has gone gold and is locked in for its release on Tuesday, August 20th. The insider, who goes as Ignis the Wise on X, attempted to relax fans' concerns about Black Myth Wukong's performance on console. They tweeted that the game will offer two modes, 4K at 30 frames per second and 1440p at 60 frames per second. The insider further claimed that the PS5 version is very optimized. Take this with a grain of salt, obviously, until we get the official confirmation, but Game Science officially tweeted that the game is gold, and they put out a post where I'm not going to read the whole thing, but essentially they're just saying that it's good and ready to go, and they're going to be dropping a new trailer soon. They also make it known that it is a single-player game and does have a story, and so they're like asking people to not spoil things or post things and ruin it for others. So yeah, Black Myth Wukong is a game that I'm personally very excited to play, and I really do hope that what this insider is saying turns out to be true, because there has been some concern. Black Myth Wukong is an Unreal Engine 5 game, and as we know, some Unreal Engine 5 games have struggled greatly when it comes to the performance and visual aspect, with very low internal resolutions in order to hit 60 FPS, less than ideal. But I will say, 1440p 60 FPS for an Unreal Engine 5 game that looks this good would be very impressive. So I hope it's true. We do have to keep in mind this has not been announced by the developer, so keep an eye out for that. I honestly would think that if it is true, it's something they will formally announce, because it could only help them and potentially lead to more sales, but we'll have to keep an eye on it. Moving on to the next topic, we're talking about Silent Hill 2 Remake. This is being reported by PlayStation Lifestyle once again. They say Silent Hill 2 Remake developer Bloober Team wants players to give it a chance and withhold any premature judgments until playing the game. The remake showing so far has left fans somewhat polarized, and Bloober Team itself wasn't too happy with January 2024's State of Play trailer, but reckons that it'll earn fans' trust upon release. In an interview with Rolling Stone, Bloober Team acknowledged that remaking a beloved classic wasn't ever going to be an easy endeavor, but said that it made every effort to make all possible fans happy while staying true to itself. The Bloober Team CEO expressed hope that it'll earn gamers' trust, stating that it's not the same studio that it was 3 years ago. I realize that trust is earned through actions, not words. That's why we have a policy of not commenting on the specifics of the game and raising hopes. We want to show our ambitions through our work, so we can't ask for anything more than give us a chance. So just thought this was worth kind of relaying to you guys, because we haven't been hearing too much about Silent Hill 2 Remake, but it's coming out relatively soon, in just a couple of months, and I'm just curious, how many of you are willing to give Bloober Team a chance? I mean, I've noticed that it's true. The conversations around Silent Hill 2 Remake are pretty polarizing. It seems like people are either completely on board and like what they've seen so far and are ready to play it day one, while others are not at all impressed or happy with what they've seen, and it doesn't seem to me like they're going to be won over. So let me know, are you somebody that's going to give Bloober Team a chance? Moving on to the next topic, this one's kind of strange and maybe unexpected, being reported by Push Square. It says, while the PS5 version of Star Wars Jedi Survivor has been in a solid state for some time now, it was anything but that at its release last year. So the Digital Foundry verdict of the now dated last-gen PS4 edition is going to be fascinating to watch. Respawn Entertainment has announced Star Wars Jedi Survivor will make its way to PS4 consoles and Xbox One consoles on September 17th, 2024, for $50 US. If you subscribe to EA Play, you can claim a 10% discount. A press release does mention a new upgrade path for those who wish to turn the PS4 version into a PS5 one later down the line, but it doesn't confirm how much it will cost. The PS4 port was confirmed to be in the works just about exactly 1 year ago, so it seems it has taken Respawn Entertainment a while to get it running properly on the 11-year-old console. So this is something that I wanted to let you guys know about because I am actually shocked in a way that this is happening. I completely forgot that this was announced a year ago. I think most people forgot about it. But yeah, we're actually seeing things go backwards now, where you would think that by this point in time, we would be completely converted to the current gen consoles and cross-gen would be done, at least for single-player games like this, right? I mean, we're still seeing games like Call of Duty and sports titles. Maybe that's to be expected, but even those games are going a little bit longer with cross-gen than expected. But now we're actually seeing things like this, right? Where EA is tasking Respawn with, listen, we want you to take a year of development time to bring this game to the older last-gen console. And it's really weird because I remember one of the things that people kind of, latched onto with this game, myself included, when it was first announced, is that it was one of like the first games that was seemingly going to leave the last-gen consoles behind. Now, it does say here it's claimed the last-gen version will sport a variety of optimizations aimed at maximizing the hardware capabilities of the consoles. That's what they have to say about the PS4 version of Star Wars Jedi Survivor. So, yeah, I mean, hopefully when it releases, it won't be like completely broken for anybody who does want to play it on PS4, but it's just very bizarre to me to kind of see that this is the direction we're going in. Let me know your thoughts on that. Moving on to the next topic, we're talking about PSVR2. Coming from PlayStation Lifestyle, Sony Interactive Entertainment has dismissed suggestions that PSVR2's PC support was planned to prevent the VR headset's sales from dwindling further. This theory has been commonly used by journalists as well as the gaming community, but Sony has revealed that it considered PC compatibility right from the start. Sony made the aforementioned revelation during an interview with Japanese site AV Watch. The company said that it always planned or always wanted players to enjoy a wide range of VR content and wants to broaden the scope of PSVR2. The importance of PC support was recognized even within the PSVR2 development team, and PC connection was also taken into consideration when the design phase of PSVR2 began, Sony said. The company added that it accelerated PC development once PS5 support was optimized to a satisfactory level. So, yeah, thought this was worth mentioning, and I'm kind of curious if you guys believe what Sony is saying here. The reason why I believe this is simply because we've seen Sony truly embrace PC in a massive way outside of PSVR2. We've seen them do it with, their single-player games by bringing them over to PC years later, and then also with their live service games dropping the same day on PC. Kind of makes sense that they were considering this all along. But it wouldn't surprise me if they did kind of expedite the process due to the slowing of sales. So let me know your thoughts on that. We're going to move on to the final topic, which talks about Black Ops 6, specifically whether or not it's going to have a platinum trophy. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 trophies and achievements have been published by a known leaker, but there's still no confirmation of a platinum trophy on the PS5. With Call of Duty games now working off of a launcher, they're treated as DLC on the PS5. The last game, MW3, had a platinum trophy on the PS4, but not the PS5. And so, yeah, if you want, this article will be linked down below. You can check out all the trophies for yourself. But this is, I think, something quite a few people are actually, who play Call of Duty on PlayStation 5 are going to be waiting to find out, because it's beginning to seem like there's not going to be a platinum for Black Ops 6 either. But I also want to throw this out here for those who are unaware. Apparently, a PS4 version of Black Ops 6 has completely leaked to the degree where people are actually playing it right now. Like, they're downloading it illegally, of course, and playing it. Kind of wild. So just be on the lookout, I guess, if you're really worried about like spoilers or anything, or I guess if you're curious about what the multiplayer looks like. I mean, the beta is going to be happening soon, but you could go check it out now. It's just really crazy what happened there, but this is one of the things that did leak out, so figured I would update you guys. But that's going to do it for the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you found it informative. If you did, be sure to leave it a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.